Hi, and welcome to Getting Unstuck with Your Insights Profile. I'm your coach, Meredith Moore Crosby, and I want you to remember that this is all about learning how to position your strengths, advance your career, and get the motivation you need to exceed, go past your biggest goals for your life. And it all starts with you. So this funny picture is here because this is true. Don't let anybody, including yourself, treat you like pond water. You are Voss. You are sparkling. You are San Pellegrino, damn it. So we are going to spend today talking about you. I recorded this webinar because a part of your relationship with me, our working together, you get a 45-page diagnostic all about you. And while that 45 pages is an awesome tool, I know firsthand that it is a lifetime of information that can literally help you get unstuck. You're going to find that it is a part of your secret weapon toolbox that we are going to put together as you navigate through these modules. But first, let's learn more about your insights profile. So for me, insights has fueled my evolution as a leader. I am fortunate enough to be married to my high school sweetheart. You can see me and Brian back in the day. We were going to a homecoming dance. I then went to Howard University, where I went from Minnesota to being drastically different at a historically Black college and university. And then there in the middle, my corporate career led me to McDonald's as a vegan, and really had an opportunity to not only excel and become the youngest director at the corporation at the age of 28, but also the opportunity to watch high-performing leaders that had similar values and backgrounds to me. During my time at McDonald's, we had the most diverse senior leadership team in the history of the corporation, and I had the chance to travel around the world leading the award-winning Global Women's Initiative that went on to win the Catalyst Award. And I ended up shifting my career to have those two little adorable boys there, and then our little puppy baby back there, a little golden doodle. And as a part of changing my life, what I found was that so many of my friends got stuck at one of these transitions, whether it was relationships or education, whether it was career or family. It prevented them from getting to that dream. Maybe it was writing a book. Maybe it's being a senior executive. Maybe it's earning $500,000 so you can finally not feel like you're working all the time. Whatever that dream is, your insights fuel your ability to evolve, to constantly build on your strengths in order to make that vision for your life come true. So we start with insights because getting unstuck requires you to participate in your rescue. So insights are going to help you focus, clarify your strengths, motivation, and blind spots. We're going to talk about your relationships and identify action steps to improve personal and interpersonal, as well as your team effectiveness. And this is all rooted in positive psychology. We really want you to walk away understanding how to shift and harness what's going right. So in positive psychology, we're going to root ourselves in the good, not get stuck in the negative. Now, insights is grounded in the work of psychologist Carl Jung. So if you were like an ace in psychology, you know what that means. But if not, the simple way to think about it is that today is about connections. And I want you to think about, who do you need to connect more with? Take a second and write down in your notebook one person that comes to mind that your life would be better if that relationship improved. Now I want you to look at the visual that's appeared on your screen and take a second. What do you see here? Now maybe you've seen this photo before, but it's an opportunity for you to see how we'll all see the world differently from the way other people see it. Some people might see an older woman with a nose that's coming down and a smile line kind of tucked into the shoulder, or a younger woman looking away and you're seeing her kind of side profile. Both are true. And so as we go through your insights, you are the expert of you. I'm not trying to tell you who you really are. You know who you really are. But again, this is about learning how to position your strengths, how to advance your career, how to get the motivation you need to exceed at your biggest goals for your life. Now that is going to come down to your perception, not only of what your current challenge is, but what your opportunities are. how you see the world is critically important to your success. Let's try an example. So let's say your group has a new manager and you've just passed this person in the hallway. He walks by you with his head down and doesn't say hello. Okay, keep it real. What are you thinking? It's a new manager. They saw you in the hallway, but didn't say anything. What are your immediate thoughts and feelings? Now, it could be that you went beyond the event that we saw, like it would have been captured on camera. The actual literal explanation of he walked past you in the hallway and didn't say anything. You might have gone to the next step and said, well, it's obviously because he doesn't like me. And maybe it's because he doesn't think that I'm a good fit for the team. Maybe I'm not a good fit for the team. You know, I did ask a lot of questions in the last meeting, and so I must be getting fired. This is so terrible. It's all over. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm the worst. I'm not qualified for this job. I don't even know how I got here. I'm just going to write my letter of recognition see, it's so foreign to me. I don't even know the words. I'm going to write my letter of quitting. Let's just call it that, since I can't think of the word. Do you see here how quickly we went up that ladder of perception? And it might sound really silly when I narrate it in your voice, in my voice, but when you think about it in your own head, how often does this happen to you, especially at work? Like something little, like somebody takes your stapler, right? Or somebody bumps you in the hallway, or somebody doesn't hold the elevator, or you sent an email and they don't respond and instead they copy your boss. We can take these things and go beyond what it really is, and ultimately that can hurt us. And so a part of what Insights does is it gives us another way to perceive these things that happen in the workplace. So we're going to talk about these 4 color energy mixes. And the most important thing I want you to know is that we have all 4. Now you have your own unique blend, right? But it includes all 4. It might be just a little bit of one. But if you look at these adjectives here, I bet you can find one in each quadrant that in some area of your life, when you're in some situation, it shows up. So for example, I am not the most social person. I know that sounds so crazy, right? Because in my business, I love to talk to clients. I love to talk to my friends. I love to do all of this. But when I have to be around people that I don't know, I don't want to talk. I just want to just be there and disappear. I know it's so crazy, right? But for other people, it shows up like me looking very formal, which would be in the blue quadrant. And if you know me, you know that I am a big goal setter, which for some people can show up looking determined or purposeful. And if we've had a chance to meet, hopefully you would describe me as caring and encouraging, which would show up in the earth green category. So do you see those 4 color mixes here? The cool blue, the fiery red, the sunshine yellow, and the earth green. Great. Now we're going to talk about what they look like on a good day and a bad day. Now, when you get your Insight profile, you're going to have a chance to go through and see what your leading colors are. But again, remember that you have all 4. So what you're seeing here on the screen is actually one of my favorite tools, and all of my clients love this because it's a great way for you to even be able to communicate with yourself, your team, your family, how you're feeling that day. So take a look at the adjectives and check in with yourself. If you were going to say how you're feeling today by an energy color, what would it be? So for example, are you having a good fiery red energy day? Are you feeling determined, focused, proactive, purposeful? Or maybe you're having a sunshine yellow good day. You're feeling empowered, you're dynamic, and you're feeling totally encouraged. So take a second. Do you have an idea of which color you're leading with? And again, it can shift from day to day, and I want to even show you how it shifts as we go from a good day to a bad day. So that fiery red energy on a bad day when you're stressed can show up as being overly direct, dismissing others' opinions, being coercive and controlling. That earth green energy on a bad day can look like not taking a stand, so into relationships that you're trying to please everyone, you're losing direction. And that sunshine yellow energy on a bad day can look like getting sidetracked or lacking focus. Notice I say look like, because that might not be true, but again, this is what it looks like to somebody observing that behavior. So somebody observing somebody leading with cool blue energy on a bad day when they're stressed, maybe they didn't get sleep last night, maybe there's something going on you don't know about. So you might notice them overanalyzing, getting stuck in intellectual deadlock, adhering too rigidly to protocol, or drowning in detail. The good news is we have all 4 color energies within us, and so do your teammates. It's the combination of the 4 energies that creates the unique you. And by understanding more about that color energy mix, you are going to be empowered to not only be able to communicate with others, but to be more self-aware. And as Carl Jung says, every advance, every conceptual achievement of mankind, or womankind, has been connected with an advance in self-awareness. And so insights really is an opportunity for you to get more aware of yourself. And that's important because these psychological preferences are the way that we gain energy. They're the way we recharge ourselves, or how we make decisions, how we take in and process information. And as you evolve as a leader, you're going to shift. You're going to continue to look at decisions differently. That perception is going to continue to change. If you think back over your life, you might have, as I use in my example, shifted. And in some ways, when you used to view yourself as an introvert, feeling more quiet, observant, now maybe you've been a stay-at-home mom for a while. And so you're like really extroverted. When you get out, you really want to get out and talk to everybody. Or maybe you're getting a little burned out in corporate. And now for you, you just want to be left alone. You just want to talk to people one-on-one. You've been burned a couple times and you just don't feel like you have the energy to build trust and make new relationships. So your attitude is important. And it's important that you notice what it is. Now, if you've done Myers-Briggs, you also know you have these decision-making functions. So you might have in the past noticed that you've shifted from being thinking more formal to being informal. You might notice that you've gone from being analytical to maybe more feeling, more flexible. Maybe you've become more relationship focused and less on tasks. Take a second and check in with yourself and how your leadership style has evolved as you have. As you look at the 4 colored energies, they map similarly. So that cool blue can be described as introverted and thinking, really a preference for task focus, calm under pressure, thoughtful, objective. Earth green is a combination of introverted and feeling in that lower left quadrant. So their preferences around depth in relationships, harmony, consensus. Meanwhile, sunshine yellow is that combination of extroverted and feeling. It's going to be a little bit more sociable, consideration of others, action-oriented, and they're usually pretty entertaining. Fiery red energy is a combination of extroverted and thinking. So they're going to enjoy high activities. They're going to like working with others, being very logical, and focusing on facts. Think again about, just based on checking in with yourself, how you show up for yourself. Where do you feel like you're leading with your energy? Now I want you to take some action on this next slide. I'm going to show you a picture. And I want you to tell me, write down what is there for you. Okay. Now, what did you notice? Were the things that you wrote down of the sensation? Maybe you noticed that it's 2 horses, there's a sunset, there's grass, there's a field. That would be on the sensation side. It's specific, realistic. Or you might have seen a loving relationship, a mother-son comforting each other, 2 lovers found each other on a hill. That's awesome. You might be leaning more towards your intuition side. Again, recognizing what words can identify your leadership can not only give you the confidence, but also new words to be able to describe your value to your team. So let's get to your secret weapon, your Insight Discovery Personal Profile. Now this again is your 45-page diagnostic. And if you don't have it yet, when you get it, your first assignment is here. I want you to stop the recording, get your insight profile and read it. And put stars next to any statements you believe are particularly accurate. Put a question mark by any statements that you don't think describe you. It happens, but often not that much. So I want you to do it for yourself. There's a equation here for you to get an idea of what the accuracy of your profile. So you can see here, if you had 1.5 sentences times 2, that would be 3%. 100% minus 3% would give you 97% accuracy. So take a minute, read your profile, and do your math. Pause here, because we're going to keep going. Okay, so once you've read your profile, the next thing to pay attention to are the graphs in the back. Now we've gone through the 4 color energies. These graphs are going to show you more about how your energy flows. So in these color energy dynamics, on the left side is graph 1. Now this is your conscious persona. It's kind of like a portrait of you. It's when you're most aware of your behaviors, maybe at work, or in this example, like you're taking a selfie. Meanwhile, in graph 2, you're seeing your less conscious persona. These are the questions that give you a perspective like a candid photograph. It's when you were maybe less aware of your behaviors. So it's like if somebody took a picture of you and you weren't necessarily looking. You didn't pose for it. If you really want to get into it, if you reflect back on when you took the assessment, there were different evaluator frames, and based on your preference, that's how we got to your color. So look at your graph. What colors are above the line? These represent your direct responses to the evaluator. It's a combination of you, who you need to be and who you want to be, and how you might act. Now, on the right side are your indirect responses to the evaluator. This suggests your more instinctive behavior and highlights your possible blind spots, how you might react to a situation. And in the center, this is measuring your energy flow from that less conscious, when you were reacting, to your more conscious, when you're aware of your actions. And those lines, that arrow pointing up, you see in this example is the blue. That is showing you the shift you see in the far right of that blue being at 8%, 0.48, to 1.56 or 26% on the left side. So it's representing the difference, how much you had to turn up your energy. So when you look at your Insight Discovery wheel position, you want to pay attention to how that's going to show up here. So your conscious persona graph, the one on the left, is going to be more in bold, and your less conscious is going to be that more faded version that you see there. You'll also notice down here at the bottom that you have a listing of not only where you map in the neighborhood, but you'll see here there's a description: coordinator, observer, reformer, director, motivator, inspirer, helper. Did we already say supporter? So it's, as you'll notice here, if you were leading with green energy, but your second highest energy or equal was sunshine yellow, you would find yourself here, more in the helper quadrant. So again, we all have all 4 of the color energies. So this is another way to get really specific about how that might show up in your leadership style, how others might experience that with you. So it's taking those 4 areas and taking it to the next level. So make sure, pause here and read the description of your type. Okay, we're going to keep on moving along. Now, you'll also notice in there, if you see your circles are out here, that is a focus ring. You are 3% of the population. Congratulations. Now, this means that you have clearly one color. You'll see that here it is the earth green above the line. That means that you have a strong preference. Now, you might find yourself here in the classic ring. You see there's 2 colors above the line: earth green and sunshine yellow. That is 54% of the population. You are in a classic ring. Now, if you are here in this 3rd ring, that means that you have 3 colors above the line. Now, that's called the accommodating ring, and it's 43% of the population. And let me explain accommodating, because it doesn't mean anything other than the fact that you are closer to making the leap from, in this example, this blue, green, and yellow, right? That green is so close to the line, they're going to be able to understand in theory and relate across here to the red because they're so close, right? It's easier to make that leap across. So this third ring is closer to their opposites. They're not so far as these ones that are a little further out here. They have longer to go. If you wanted to think about it like hopscotch, like you have to hit each one of these rings to make it across, they've got just one to jump across, and they would be leading with red, which is the one that was not above the line. So that's the accommodating ring. Now, creative types, which you might have found, are 9% of the population. That means that you are showing with two opposing energies that are both above the line. So it's a really interesting thing. If you show up with creative positions, make sure that we take time to talk about that in your one-on-one and how you might experience that at work and really how you position that, because it's a very unique profile to have. So now that we've gone through, I want you to think about every time you meet someone, you have the opportunity to practice this skill of recognizing and adapting to their color energies. So I want you to practice, okay? So now that you know what your color energy is, you probably have a better understanding of hopefully all four because you've been able to apply it to yourself. So I want you to think about this person that we started out in the beginning and I had you put into your mind that you want to connect with. Do they speak to think, or do they think to speak? Do they speak to think, or do they think to speak? So are they somebody who they talk for a long time, all of the ideas could be this, could be that, and then they get to a solution? Or are they very quiet, they think about it, and then they come back to you with a response? Okay, that's one way. Step two, is this person more formal? Are they more buttoned up, or are they more relaxed, informal? And you can see here the color types that correspond with it. Your cool blue energy and fiery red energy are going to feel more formal. I lead with fiery red. So if you think I'm formal, well, there you go. And more relaxed, informal is going to be that green, earth green, sunshine yellow, which sunshine yellow is my second color. So you see there how while you can start to recognize types, you also want to keep in mind perception. If somebody's having a good day or a bad day, that might not be the one instance to make a decision about their type, but it's a way that you can be aware. If typically they're more formal and you notice that all of a sudden they're being more informal, you can notice that something may have happened. So let me bring it home for you. This is my father, Cornell Moore. He is the original owner of the company and founder, and he's, my dad. And so working together, not only do we have generational differences, but if you've ever worked with your parents, it's a whole lot of fun. And so for me, being able to understand his insight profile, which I believe he leads with cool blue energy. He's very analytical. He's an attorney. He's always coming up with questions. But for me, as I said, as a fiery red and sunshine yellow, I am always looking for more maybe appreciation, more welcoming, more excitement, more energy. And I would start to take it personal when he would respond to my enthusiasm with more questions. You can kind of even see it in our body language. Here, I've got on my whole power pose. I'm like, we're going to take these pictures, Dad. They're going to be amazing. And my dad's like, what are we taking these pictures for again? Who's paying for this? Where are they going to go? Did I sign a release? So I want you to think about a situation when you've been with that person that you want to relate to better. And I want you to guess their color type based on an instance that you've had with them. Notice if they were formal or informal. Did they narrate for you their thought process, or did you have to figure it out on your own? And the third step here is I want you to just assume you're right. Don't get caught up in your head on this one and, oh, I think it might be this. I think just guess. Pick one and let's stick with it. because now we're going to get into what are you going to do about it. So I am going to cycle through these because you can come back and look at them, but we're just going to go through a quick example. So as I said, I am fiery red. That is my preference that I lead with. And for me, when I go in to work with a client, I let them know these communication preferences right off of the bat. I like to be direct and to the point. I'm always focused on results and objectives, and I am very confident. I'm assertive. So if there's any question, I always have to underline the fact that I am here to help, because sometimes people will just assume that I'm not trying to be helpful when in fact I'm trying to get the work done. And for me, when I see people hesitate or be indecisive, or it gets too into their feelings, or if they try to take over without a really clear understanding of where they're leading, that might set me off. As a person leading with fiery red energy, I can just kind of shut down. It's like I don't compute. I don't understand what's happening here. So as we go through these, think about the energy that you lead with, not only that number one, but remember, you could have 3 above the line, right? So all of these are relevant. So think of somebody, as you look at these preferences, try to come up with somebody in your mind who communicates like someone who would be leading with an earth green preference. Think of somebody in your life who's friendly and sociable and might be leading with a sunshine yellow preference. Do they get bored when you give them too many details? Think of someone with that cool blue preference. For me, it was my dad. He always expects me to be super well prepared and thorough. Like, I don't know if that's the attorney in him, but my father raised me to, like, you be ready for the question after the question after the question after the question. And he always has me put things in writing. If you're in this course, it's because you signed a contract. Like, I mean, it's crazy. He's really into details. For me, with my sunshine yellow as his daughter, growing up, I was super emotional. And I would like exaggerate things like, I have to get it done right now. It's super urgent. And none of those things went over very well. So that again leads me to my verification that I believe he's leading with that cool blue preference. So take a screenshot of this. You can also just download it if it makes it easier. But here are some ways that you can communicate based on your lead color. So if you're leading with that cool blue, let's do it right, could be your phrase. Give me the details. If you're leading with that fiery red, be brief, be bright, be gone, might be your motto. Let's do it now. Sunshine yellow wants involve me, like see me, let's do it together. And earth green wants you to show me that you care. Let's do it in a caring way. So do you see here how this can help you with your team? And I want to make sure that you're also seeing how you can apply this in every day, because we're all about actionable strategies. And you know, I'm all about setting goals, because we want to learn how to position your strengths, advance your career, and get the motivation you need to exceed your biggest goals for your life. So you have to have a goal if you're going to exceed it, right? So here's another great way that you can help yourself commit to action and bring that insight into your daily practice, right? So I want you to think again about the 4 different color types. Remember, you have all of them inside of you. So here is an awesome way to think about if you're working in a team and just with yourself, to really be thorough and how we're going to look at our goals. So I want you to think of one goal. And throughout the course, I'm going to ask you to make it a career goal, because really when we're able to shift our career, when we're able to make more money, when we have more resources, that ultimately gives us freedom to do everything else, freedom to go to the gym, freedom to stop trading our health for our work, freedom to focus on our other relationships. So I'm not saying we're excluding the other things. They're all important, but I'm asking you to agree that you can do it all, but not all by yourself and not all at once. So this is a framework for you to start with your why. Remember, go back to those details. Somebody leading with cool blue energy is not going to just do it just because. They want to know, why are we doing this? To what end? Right? Then they want to be clear about what are the actions that I'm taking here. There's your A. What are the actions? That fiery red, want to be productive. I'm determined. What does this take? And then visualize, right? That sunshine yellow, include me. Connect your mind, body, spirit, your chakra. Take some time to meditate on what is this vision for this goal? What will it look like when you are able to achieve this, whatever that fulfilling looks like, whatever exceeding that goal looks like, you're going to hit it here in this sunshine yellow, visualize. And then lastly, engage support. We're going to talk about in the course mentors, resources, who is there to help you. But start thinking about what are those relationships that you need in order to make that vision come true, in order to get you back to that why and make this all be worthwhile. So congratulations. You've officially started your journey to change your life, starting with your career. And I'm so excited. I hope you can hear it in my voice. I'm so excited. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited you've taken this step. I'm excited that you have this 45-page manuscript to your life with sentences and words that prove, if ever there was a doubt that you weren't worth all that we know you're worth, you are. And now we have another way to talk about your strengths. We have another way to position you so that you can feel confident in advancing your career. So the next step is, if you've somehow snuck through this whole piece and you have not completed your assessment, you have not gotten the link and logged in, it takes about 45 minutes so you would know if you had done it. This is not your intake coaching course intake. It's not that. This is ongoing, multiple screens. You have to enter your name, and it's a whole thing. And then you would get that. If you look back, you would have that profile. So if you haven't done that, go back and do that. If you have, and you are in the right spot, then your next step is to set up your one-on-one with me to review your profile. Now that you've seen an overview of the 4 quadrants, now that you have a gut feeling of what your goals are, now we're going to get really specific. We're going to look at your particular strengths. We're going to look at your blind spots. We're going to talk about why you do what you do and what you really want. Remember, the goal here is I want you to love what you do and do what you love. So my email is down here. Please, if this was helpful, if you have questions, please send me an email. I am here to help. You can always hit me in this Slack channel as well. But feel free, save this, come back anytime you get stuck, anytime you have a new person on a team, you get a mentor and they have a different communication style. Come back and review these do's and don'ts and challenge yourself to ask yourself and test out, what are the color energies of the people that are in my life? It will make you a better person, and it will make it easier for them to connect with you. And remember, this is all about connections. Have a great day. Thank you again for taking the time to go through this.